Hey guys, this is James Heller, and after completing over 50 real estate transactions, I've found that there is a certain risk-reward spectrum for flipping a particular property, and there are some that are much easier but might not provide the same payoff as one that's higher risk, higher dollar, but also may provide a higher financial outcome at the end. So I wanted to share that spectrum with you guys. And if you're getting value from these videos, please go ahead, like, subscribe, follow. I put the full videos on YouTube, and then we chop up little chunks for Instagram and Facebook that provides just little 10-second bite-sized value boosts. So let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to chat with you, okay? So the first property on the far left side of the risk-reward spectrum are condos and townhouses. And these can be really surefire ways to get your foot in the door for fix and flips because they're pretty straightforward, right? You only own the walls in, you don't own the outsides of the building. So what's great is that there's not a lot of surprises for the most part, right? There's always some risk. Sometimes you can have trouble with HOAs and things like that. Like we've had closings that were held up because the HOA's budget wasn't what it should be, right? They were in a negative budget situation. So it can be tough for buyers to get loans, but it's pretty rare that that happens. Always make sure to ask about the HOA, but townhouse and condo flips can be really straightforward, but typically don't provide the same payoff that larger homes will provide. So the second step up on sort of the risk-reward spectrum are planned single-family homes. And what I mean is basically a neighborhood where there's lots of single-family homes and there's lots of the same floor plan that you can compare your house to. Typically, these houses are all going to be basically the same footprint, might even be the exact same layout, but they'll have similar square footage, similar bed and bathroom count, and you can get a really good idea of what similar properties are selling for because they're all in the same area. They all basically look the same, so you have a good sense of what people are paying for homes like that. Now, it is a whole house, so there can be hidden factors that you're not recognizing, like maybe the sewer line is no good, maybe the roof needs to be replaced. And so accounting for all of those things up front in your budget and adding buffer is super, super important when you're moving up to flipping single family homes, okay? The third step, this is kind of right in the middle of the risk reward, is small multifamily, which is basically any set of apartments from 2 to 4 units. And these can be really great payoffs because you have a little bit of a wider audience of people looking for these, right? You can now sell to kind of mom and pop retail investors that just want to have passive rental income. You can sell to house hackers that want to live in part of the property and then rent out the rest of it. So you have some good options of people that want these, and less of them sell typically, meaning that they can be more desirable than just single family homes. Now, however, the issue can be that you're now dealing with 2, 3, or 4 sets of kitchens, bathrooms, maybe sewer lines, and there can just be sort of a multiplied risk depending on how many units you're looking at. So it's just something to keep in mind that typically the renovation bill is going to be higher with a duplex than a single family home of the same size, basically because you have twice as many kitchens, bathrooms, what have you. The next step up on the risk-reward spectrum is unique single-family homes. And what I mean by unique is it's not necessarily in a planned development. Maybe it's in the mountains, maybe it's a little more rural, maybe it's just a luxury home where all of the houses in that particular neighborhood look different. And so part of the challenge here is that you're selling to a narrower audience because less people can afford homes at a higher price point. So you need to factor that into how long it's going to take to sell the home, how many people are going to be interested in the home. Most likely you're going to have a higher number of days on market than you would if you're at or below the median price point in your city, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Also, it's a little harder to comp because all of the properties typically look different. They might be sitting on different lot sizes, different acreage. They might have different views, which is a big deal in Colorado. So taking all of these things into account is really important. And sometimes there's things that you can't see in the numbers that are only apparent when you actually see the house, right? Additionally, something a little higher on the risk-reward spectrum is splitting multifamily homes. For instance, turning a duplex or a fourplex into 2 or 4 separate condos or townhomes. This can be a huge payoff because typically you're buying at a bit of a discounted rate when you get multifamily homes, but when you split them so that they can be sold individually, you're finding different buyers for each unit, which means that typically it's a collectively higher paycheck, which is awesome. However, there's typically some legal stuff that you have to do there in terms of splitting the units. You have to get approval from the city. Sometimes you have to create an HOA agreement because now the new owners will be sharing certain things like maybe the roof or maybe utilities. In Colorado, at least, most units have to have their own water supply, meaning if you only have one, you might not have to create new water taps, which can actually be more expensive than you think. So this is a more advanced strategy, requires a good deal of underwriting and just understanding whether or not those units can be split before you take on the project, right? Because you don't want to find out halfway through that, no, these units can't be split, or it just doesn't make financial sense to split them. So that is a good strategy as well. Fifth highest risk, highest reward, potential reward strategy is new development, which involves either tearing down an old house or just finding land to build on and building something completely new from the ground up. This is a very high risk, high reward strategy. It's not something that I've done before, but I do know a lot of folks that are doing it in this space. And what's great is that not a ton of people are doing it. So you have less competition, but certainly higher financial buy-in, higher amount of money that's going into the project, and a higher timeline, right? It could be a year or more before you actually realize any revenue. So because of that, you have a higher risk. The market can change in the period of a year or 2 years, whatever it takes. Economic factors can change, all sorts of different things. So underwriting the deal is even more important here, and just knowing that you have a good amount of buffer built in for your development project and can weather the storm if anything changes along the way, okay? So guys, this is my risk reward spectrum for flipping homes. I certainly recommend, if you've not done any flips before, that you start on the left side of the spectrum and slowly work your way to the right, because there's lots of money to be made in any of these strategies. And to me, minimizing your mistakes is actually more important than maximizing your profits in the beginning. And so that's what I recommend. Start yourself with the lowest risk, get the best returns that you possibly can, and work your way through the spectrum to build your business.